the Nonprofit Podcast, powered by Donorbox.
Did you ever receive a postcard from your friends or family when they went on a trip? I loved seeing pictures and hearing a quick recount of the fun they had while they were away. It's a bit of a lost art today, but we are here with a postcard of sorts just for you. Welcome to the Nonprofit Podcast. I'm Kara, fundraising coach at Donorbox. We are here each week with practical actions you can use today to increase donations and take your nonprofit to the next level tomorrow. We're just back from the Association of Fundraising Professionals annual conference, and what fun it was to meet new people, reconnect with some partners and some Donorbox organizations. And we took time to learn from fundraising experts about all that's new and newsworthy in the sector. Jenna Lynch, our nonprofit advocate at Donorbox, joins me this week to talk about what's new in the nonprofit sector and some big takeaways from the conference. Welcome, Jenna.
Hey, Kara. It's great to be here this week. So we both recently attended the world's largest nonprofit conference hosted by the Association of Fundraising Professionals in New Orleans. For those of you who are unfamiliar, the Association of Fundraising Professionals, or AFP, is the professional association of individuals and organizations in the philanthropy sector. So this is a major annual conference for fundraisers from organizations of all sizes and is packed with educational sessions and a partner expo. It also provides some great networking and learning opportunities, and we attended with some of our Donorbox team.
We did, and there was so much to learn and experience, but there was almost too much, and I'm still really processing it all. Jenna and I compared notes and found some big trends and takeaways to share with you. And the first thing we want to share is really rocking the nonprofit sector right now. Both dollars and donors are down for the first time in many years. If you haven't taken a look at the work of the Fundraising Effectiveness Project, or FEP, I encourage you to do so. I log in quarterly to look at fundraising stats across the nonprofit sector. It is the place to find the most recent trends for guiding nonprofit fundraising and donor engagement. And they released their most recent findings, this would be their quarter 4 findings of 2022, at a panel discussion at AFP. And this has been all the talk since. So what did they find? Well, for the first time in a very long time, dollars raised across all nonprofit organizations are down. For many years, they've been tracking upward, although the number of donors has been going down. But oh my, there was some startling data around that too. We know that the number of donors has been slowly declining. Nonprofits have largely been relying on some major donors, some large givers, but this sharp decline is really alarming, especially with any perceived economic uncertainty. This reliance on large donations really could be dangerous. The report shows that the leading cause of this donor decline is coming from a reduction of new donors. And so new donors that were gained in 2021 did not give again at the same rate in 2022. Instead, they dropped their giving levels and they fell. So that means that donations from smaller level donors is also declining. So we have declining gifts from large givers and small givers. And Mike Geiger, he's the president and CEO of the Association of Fundraising Professionals. And he said this during the conference. He said, these findings are undoubtedly concerning. Apart from the fact that high inflation makes the year-on-year results that much more stark, the numbers suggest a return to the decade-long decline in donors we saw prior to COVID. And then he continued, he said, as an industry, we need to find ways to be more proactive in building sustainable giving models so we aren't as dependent on economic forces that we can't control. I guess if we can glean anything is that what you can control is this, retaining your current donors. And I attended another session and learned that even a 10% improvement in donor retention could result in a 200% increase in the value of your overall donor base in dollars. And that could be really significant. And for anyone who's listening, you can be part of the FEP and use your participation to keep a close eye on your own metrics within the organization, and then they'll use your data as an aggregate for these findings too. And the FEP releases quarterly findings on giving trends, both as a downloadable report and as a free online dashboard. You can find those at afpicon.com. fep.org, and we'll link those for you in the show notes. So that was startling to me, Jenna.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel the same way there, Kara. I'll definitely have to check those out too. Thank you so much for sharing that data. That is a huge talking point right now. I'm seeing it everywhere. We were hearing it at the conference. We were hearing all the buzz on LinkedIn as well. So something to keep an eye on for sure. Okay, so the next point that was discussed quite a bit is that payment options make all the difference. So we picked up on a lot of buzzwords around the industry right now. Gen Z giving, digital wallets like Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, accepting gifts from donor advised funds. And then there's still a little talk about crypto, but there were far fewer conversations about crypto than there were last year for sure. So essentially what I gleaned is that giving is more than cash, check, and credit card. To create an experience that's on par with what your donors expect, you must start to adopt these methods for sure. So staff and boards are often intimidated by what they don't know. So educate yourself. If you'd like to talk more about digital wallets, you can contact our support team at support@donorbox.org. They are the best.
They truly are. I love our support team, and they're so quick to respond day or night. And we talked about the importance of donor retention just a bit ago. Making it easy for your donors to give in a way that works best for them will really help improve that donor retention. So that's really great. We'll plan a future podcast. I think we should do a podcast episode on understanding donor advised funds. You mentioned that, and the special solicitation strategies around them. So absolutely, we need to do that. The next thing that was really obvious throughout the sessions and conversations and the expo is that partnerships extend your team's capacity. As a fundraising practitioner in a small shop, I often saw good partnerships with providers and vendors as a way to extend my team. And it can be intimidating, and there might be some initial sticker shock when you ask them for rates, but it can often be more affordable to work with a vendor than to hire someone on. They're often subject matter experts, and they spend fewer hours, plus you're not paying for their benefit.
And it's so good for scaling, getting you from point A and moving your operation up to the next level. And then the next, managing a nonprofit is so much work. It's hard work. It takes daily dedication to keep all the moving pieces together. And sometimes it can be downright overwhelming, and nonprofit staff are spread thin. And I'm sure many of you are nodding your heads as you're listening to this right now. And at many nonprofits, some staff positions have been vacant for months or even years, and the candidate pool to fill those positions can be pretty shallow. So asking for outside help can balance the workload and really pay off by bringing in a skill set from the outside organization. So outside service providers or nonprofit consultants can step in to fill some gaps in the organization, such as marketing, graphic design, and social media. They are the target market for many small media houses and are well represented when it comes to size and services, either small end-to-end consultants who tackle these donor-facing skills for your organization, or larger organizations who can tackle all of your online media management for you and are often open to negotiating. And then IT services and nonprofit accounting are not skills you may need daily. So seeking professionals will make more sense than underutilizing sitting skills in expensive team members. And events are big and not always a strong suit for everyone. Event planning can be outsourced, or you can use these solutions such as my favorite, Donorbox events, to handle those ticketing and sales. It just makes it super easy. And then, of course, do not forget the endless possibilities of really great software, some of which are open source, some really inexpensive, and some that are worth the money. And they are there to help you handle project management, event planning, and a few that will assist with grant writing, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, those are really good examples. And there are some really good ways to lean into the strengths of experts and their expertise that your staff may not inherently have. So extending your team by working with these experts can be so valuable, especially those with small in-house staff teams. Absolutely. Thanks for those. Those are really great.
You bet. And so many organizations are working with those small teams. Okay, the next big conversation we picked up on at the conference omnichannel communication works. Yes,
Yes, it
works.
does.
The reality is that very few donors receive the deep level of engagement they desire from the organizations they support. And the FEP data we referenced a bit ago is a major testament to this. So, what does this mean? Nonprofit organizations can gain a lot by using marketing activities to raise awareness, promote donations, and inspire continued donor engagement. And this mix of communication techniques can include email, in-person events, social media, and content creation. A consistent image across multiple channels can help nonprofits raise the standards and achieve higher rate of donor engagement and retention. And it also shows they are worthy of support, worthy of the investment. So this is incredibly important. Omnichannel communication means sharing a similar message across multiple channels and then providing multiple touch points between the organization and the donor. So it really works.
It does. And we've talked about this a lot in the podcast and throughout some Donorbox Academy courses. But I attended about 3 sessions that just kept reinforcing the fact that omnichannel communication works for driving donations. But here's the catch. The one thing that I did pick up is that it must be authentic, it must be warm, and it must be compelling. And here's another surprise, or maybe it's not, but direct mail is the anchor of this omni-channel communication. I just kept hearing over and over that direct mail is still really effective, especially when it's paired with personalized introductions from people that you know within the organization. If you have well-constructed appeals and you're gleaning information from your CRM. So we just spent a couple podcast episodes talking about how to beef up your data with tools like Boodle AI, and then using this data then into appeal writing and personalizing and segmenting your communications can be really, really effective. So basically, you can use communication through direct mail, email, social media, and these in-person events and meetings throughout the year. And when you do, you have the potential to show that you care about your supporters for more than their wallets. You're engaging them into the conversation that your organization is having, the big conversation, and it helps build your donor relationships, and it ultimately results in higher donor retention rates.
Oh, yeah. It communicates that the recipient is valued enough to be communicated with. And when you use their first name and talk about their interests in your organization, it goes such a long way. And with mail, it shows you value them when you send a physical item that costs your organization ink, paper, and postage. And plus, who doesn't like getting snail mail? I know I do.
I do. And that's exactly the point. But the whole conversation around omni-channel communication is using it to build relationships and stay in conversation with your supporters, not just pushing out your latest campaign at them and only going to them when you're asking for money. You're seeking to engage and sustain relationships, and that takes multiple intentional touch points throughout the year, and then keeping the conversation going. So investing in building relationship might mean that they stick around a little longer and remember you when it's time to give each year, and that can keep your organization afloat and help with those retention rates that the FEP reported are really dismal right now.
Words to live by. So everyone listening, get to writing so that your mission can gain support in a whole new way. Absolutely. So are any of these hot topics on your mind too? You know, professional development is important for every nonprofit to think about. Making the investment in helping your team learn and grow are really important to the sustainability of your nonprofit.
It might be good to investigate joining your local AFP chapter or invest in attending fundraising conferences similar to these. But if it's not in the budget, we will be here to keep you current with what's going on in the sector. And we're committed to sharing some practical actions you can use to apply these concepts each and every week. And as we wrap up this week, I just want to say thank you for choosing to spend time with the Nonprofit Podcast. I hope you've left with confidence to take a small step today that will make a big difference tomorrow. Don't forget to download and review the podcast or give it a thumbs up if you're listening to the Nonprofit Podcast on YouTube. Your review is a great way to help others find us. You're here to help others. We're here to help you. So until next time, stay inspired.
That warm feeling when you help someone, It's not just happiness, it's fulfillment. And we believe it should be available to everyone, from frontline heroes to first-time fundraisers. Our tools empower you to help others. This is our mission. This is Donorbox, helping you help others.